Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Dad.
So the reason I wanted to talk was to talk about what it's like to direct this show.
Yeah.
And the difference in our experiences in terms of what we're used to in terms of sitting back and watching actors work.
Right.
And this directorial experience, at least for me, when we did Pride and Prejudice, I went in not really knowing what to expect. So I didn't know ahead of time it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
But what it ended up feeling like was choreography more than directing. Right. So like we took this script in the summer, right? We took Pride and Prejudice and started working on the summer. And I think the actors got through 3 lines, and then they said, "Okay, where do you want us to go now?"
Right.
So, right. It says we make a carriage. What do we do?
Right. And then
we do. And then after a while, I would say, go ahead and do it. But still, the experience was you had to get out of your chair.
Yeah.
You literally, physically, and you had to stand with them.
Yeah.
And have the experience of kind of moving through the world of the play and creating imaginative space, but putting things in the space, statues, carriages, front doors, right? And so we found that essentially what we were doing was kind of moving through the world of the play and or Elizabeth's mind, spatially.
Yeah.
And it became, after a while, once we kind of gave up the kind of traditional sense of what it feels like to direct, it became that became the experience, and it became thrilling. Like really, really, really fun. It was almost like a discovery.
Right.
So if you look at even the stills, the still photos that we took during that time, you'll see Hickson and I right in the middle of the actors almost the entire time. Even some cases, either playing a role, or there's a photo of myself and Amanda Clemens, who played Elizabeth, sort of walking arm in arm through the world of the play.
Yes.
So to me, that experience is really important to understand when you're going in to direct it.
Yeah.
That it's not something you're watching, right?
Yeah.
It's not something you're watching. It's something you're doing.
Right.
And you're doing. But I have another question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think Austin's view of technology would be? In particular, I think blogging. What do you think her reaction would be to kind of the ability to sort of instantly communicate?
The sense of sharing it, like the sense of like anybody being able to read it at any time. I don't think she would be particularly excited about that. And then, of course, like a huge amount of her letters after Jane Austen died were burned by her sister. I think that she had a pretty strong sense of privacy.
You don't think the impish side of her would have, Twitter would have appealed to the impish side of her?
That's a good
just
question.
Social commentary, I think I can just see her having
social commentary, yes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right, and I think one of the things that the writing does well of the piece that you've done is that that's why I say her sort of impish nature. I think that she absolutely had that sort of smart but also youthful sense of humor about the time that she was living in.
No, totally.
And I think that your sense of that has come across on the page. And one of the things I was wondering about was, the genesis of this idea. You did the kind of sketched pieces with Lindsay that time.
Yeah.
Just the video. Do you have thoughts about how to capture that, or how are you thinking about going about sort of creating that feel?
The energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And this is actually something I've been talking about with the designers a lot. Like, it should feel like you never really know where they're coming from next. And that it's instantaneous, right? It's the hat comes on, and I'm instantly Mr. Collins. There's a dramatic physical shift there. The other half of it is that there are going to be things like costumes will literally be flying across the stage.
The idea that at the end of the day, this is all a story in someone's head, right?
Right.
It's a story in someone's head, and there's that sense of it unfolding quickly.
Right.
And I think that's great. There's a sense that the audience has to keep up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It has to come in and keep up, and I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
The show has such a wonderful, playful nature, and I think that was the fun of it for us directorially, and I think also for the actors. I think the experience that you have as an actor is the same in the sense that it's not a lot of deep character work in the sense that you have to think ahead of time kind of who these are and what are the representative gesture, walk, whatever.
Yeah.
But after that, it's very freeing. It's just like, okay, you're Caroline, talk, go.
Yeah.
Right. And then the beauty of the script, I think, is that the words, the language, you've done a nice job of shifting the language very quickly so that just the voices are very, very different, right? Lydia's voice is very, very different.
We immediately identify them based on the way that they talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I have been saying to my ensemble as we've met over the last couple of months, I think one of the dangers of this script, because it moves so quickly, is that it can be very surface level, and it can feel a little bit stereotypical, and it is painted that way a little bit. But I think that one of the beautiful things for me in writing it was that because I had this intimate knowledge of the novel, I could put in one line that you could go poke at the novel and there was like a whole slew of stuff that's underneath that line. So that when we do get it on its feet, it moves quickly, but the truth of those moments will be living underneath how quickly it's moving.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, in general, I just think it's a really fun play to do.
Yeah.
And directorially, for me, the experience was very, very different.
Yeah, and we talked about that because I had initially started like creating a rehearsal schedule that was more traditional. And it was more like we have to touch every single scene and work on every single scene, and we literally don't have time. Like our rehearsal schedule doesn't have time for us to touch every single scene for an hour, like you typically try to do. So like we had talked about, like how do you
you just grab grab it and go. You just grab it and go and get in with them. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And the beauty is you've done all the hard work, right? The cast is magnificent.
Yeah. Oh
great.
God.
And they're gonna do all the invention.
Yeah.
So I think the beauty is that it's just getting in. The fun of it should feel like that, right? That atmosphere that you had with Lindsay, right? Where it's just let's get in the garage and do this and see what happens.
And it's play, right? And the phrase that I keep like latching onto that you had said to me a couple weeks ago was imaginative space. And I was running into a wall when I was blocking the play. I was like, okay, so Longbourn has 2 doors, and this door leads to the kitchen and the bedrooms, and this door leads to the front door. But then wait a second, 3 scenes later, I have to have a back door, and then I can't. Like, there's too many doors.
Yeah.
And so once we had that conversation and talked about it just being an imaginative space, the only thing that's on the stage now is things that get used. So sometimes, as opposed to it being a character entering a space, it's an idea entering a space.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So how was that?
I think that was good.
Okay, good.
I think that was great. Yeah, I think that was really fun, and our kick.
Best Father's Day present I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Not even a Father's Day present.
It's hella good.
Oh, thank you, Dad. Thank you so much.